Welcome in to Coffee and Chel for February 5th is Thursday. Yeah, it is Thursday. Hope everyone had a great evening. Yesterday we had Star of the Month release, and every fantasy card, it seems, kind of popped off yesterday. We got our first 99. So congrats to everyone who owns Anton Lundell. On Friday at 5 p.m., you're going to get all those upgrades. After yesterday, we got Barzal, who I have, hitting 95. His elite quick release card is now insane. But there was a lot of cards that a lot of fantasy games. Timothy Liljegren scored. That's when you know that things went crazy. So, love that. Love that fantasy cards are starting to come through. However, want to point out that you've got 3 weeks of essentially no games now. So, kind of interesting. Also, some massive NHL trades. I guess we briefly talk about the Panarin deal. So, Artemi Panarin's now an LA King. It was rumored that the Sharks were in on him. I'll just give my fandom of the Sharks and all of that. They asked for Will Smith, and one of the greatest quotes I've ever seen. Apparently, Mike Greer was asked about that. His response to Drury was just no. So I thought it was funny. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen, so I'm glad they didn't pay up. In terms of the Rangers fans being upset about the lack of return, he held all the cards. He had a no-move clause, and of all the teams that were offering decent packages, the Kings offered the best one, it seemed. So Greentree is a very good prospect. He was the Kings' best prospect. Is he Artemi Panarin? No, but it is what it is. The Kings essentially trying to beat Edmonton. This trade doesn't matter if they match up with Edmonton. Again, this is something that isn't talked about enough because it's a West Coast. It's the Western Conference, so Western Conference never gets a lot of attention. But the Edmonton and LA is far worse than Toronto, Boston. If you go and look. It is, they just cannot beat them the way that their team is constructed. And essentially what the Kings have to do now is just hope and pray they don't match up with Edmonton. I think they would rather take on the Avalanche at this point. Every time I've watched that series, the LA Kings play good defensive hockey from their forwards, but they have no ability to stop how fast Edmonton plays. So even when Mike Smith was actively trying to just throw the series for Edmonton, McDavid still just single-handedly beat them. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality. The team makeup just does not allow them to. I don't think Panarin pushes the needle past Edmonton, even though Edmonton's pretty bad. But we'll see. I think it does ensure that the LA Kings actually make the playoffs. They're right on the edge, kind of with the Sharks. So it hurts the Sharks quite a bit because if they got Panarin, I think it would have guaranteed the Sharks playoffs, or at least increase their odds quite a bit. But yeah, I'm okay with them. Given the fact that he went for Greentree, that would have meant the Sharks probably would have had to given up Musty. And I don't really, I'm not huge on Musty anymore, but I don't think that would have been worth it. Again, he's just older, and the Sharks window is the next 10 years, not the next 2, where LA is really hanging on, for one more run with Doughty, Kopitar, and them. So. Makes sense. It does. And we'll see how many bigger trades happen after the deadline. I think one of the bigger issues, the Eastern Conference seems to be settled. The Leafs specifically, I know I talk about the Leafs a lot, but them winning 3 games in a row right before the break was the worst thing they could have done, because now they can't spend the next 3 weeks trying to work on deals, because if they come out of the break and they win the first 2, I think it's a back-to-back against Florida and Tampa. I wouldn't say the odds are high in that, but if they somehow do win that, then they're back in. They can't buy because they have nothing to buy with, but they just wouldn't sell. And I think that's going to be pretty bad for their future teams. But anyways, let's get into the Star of the Month from yesterday. So Star of the Month, it was Kucherov, who's a good card, fine card. McDavid, who is 92 overall, not 93, is better. I just think that I think anytime that you've got a card that comes out that has an incredible cost to it, okay, I think you need to make the card exceptional. If that's the case, right? If you were going to consider making Kucherov outside of people that just love Tampa Bay and Nikita Kucherov, he needs a high-end ability. Everyone doesn't need quick release, but he at least needs an elite ability. All right? I think that's the bare minimum, right? And it's been so hit or miss as to how they've handled elite abilities. The Beast Mode event early on in the year, that had elite abilities. The 90 overall captain cards, those had elite abilities. But then they don't have elite abilities on higher end cards. It just doesn't make much sense. There's no consistency. It's all random. It just goes to show that while the structure of how things are going to run from the content team are consistent, very little planning from that side of things about how those minute details play into it, right? Because it appears that like it follows the fantasy event where it's like once they hit 95, their abilities go to elite, right? But I think cards like Team of the Year, for example, should have had elite abilities. I don't know how, it's crazy to me that they don't. But I think that Star of the Month would be a lot more interesting because it is so expensive if they had exceptional abilities. I think that that would kind of move the needle with it because it's really not worth making Kucherov at all. So, all right, I want to go on a bit of a rant here about the state of my team. So I've been playing quite a bit recently, and something I say on my stream quite a bit, and just my experience while playing the game, I hate my team. I actively don't like the team that I have in terms of like my quote unquote God squad. For anyone watching the video, I'll pull up my team here and I'll try to explain it for anyone listening. So let's see. Barzal is now up to a 95 overall. He's got elite quick release and he's just fast. This is an unbelievable card. I've been able to just huck the puck in, much like Bergeron, who still remains, in my opinion, considering it's so easy to make a 90 overall icon, one of the best values in the game. And then I've got ODR Season McDavid. My second line is Stützle, Larkin, and Point. I don't want to use Larkin at center. I can't really find a better center to go on this line with him that I actually want to use. My third line should be my fourth line. It's the Vancouver Canuck line with the Pinnacle Sillinger. This is a great fourth line, an unbelievable one. However, the fourth line I actually use of Kyrou, Sakic, and Verhaeghe, I have to use for salary cap reasons. So this line shouldn't exist. It should be cards that I actually want to use, and this should be my fourth line, but I can't because of the salary cap. My defense, I actually enjoy, but the big issue is I don't want Liljegren on my team. Byram on my third line sounds and looks so insane, but the reason is that I can't go up against Sakic's, Chara's, McDavid's with Liljegren on the ice. So while Byram makes up for a lot of it, he's now an 87 overall, but it really doesn't change anything. He's got under 90 skating. I have to use Liljegren, and that makes me, because it's 35 million. There's no way I can even build a team without it, right? So I can't even imagine people that don't have a fantasy combo that are no money spent, right? And then I have, my goaltending tandem. That's fine. I like Lankinen. He's okay. Would I like to improve upon him? Sure, but I can't really afford it. I do have about $5 million in salary cap space right now, but Liljegren's about to go up $2 million, and whatever comes out, I still haven't even added Solani yet, right? Because of this issue, right? So the reason why I've been trying to figure out what to do. And I was talking about this in my chat, and while I'm recording this live, I just had this conversation, but I'm at a point where I think next year I legitimately have to spend money. And let me walk you through like the thought process here. So I play the game until, let's take the fact that this is like a job. Okay, let's just take it out. I still enjoy playing the game. Like playing people online is like a massive enjoyment for me. I have a ton of fun with it. I like building a team, all of that. Even if I didn't do this as a job, I'd still be playing Hockey Ultimate Team. I wouldn't play it as much, but I would still play it, right? And because I play it so much, because I like the game so much in that sense, that I have no problem if you play a game a ton and you enjoy it and you want to make up for the fact that you don't have a lot of time and you spend money in the game. I've said this a number of times. Like, it's funny to me, but the teams that are the best are usually in the lower divisions. It's not the God squads in Diamond, Elite, and Ultimate. They're there, but there's far better teams on average in Silver, Gold, and Bronze. And the reason for that is because people that don't have as much time to play the game, so they're worse at the game, make up for it by spending a ton of money because they have access to a lot more money, right? Like they just don't have, the more money you make, the less time you have. So it kind of correlates, right? And so I would make up for the fact that, I don't like my team, but I want to play the game by spending some money in the game. But then also, I obviously have a gimmick of no money spent, but I'm simply not enjoying it. So the big thing that I'm coming to realize that I've said this a few times in videos. I think my demographic, not my communities, my own. So enjoys the game playing it only online. I do not get any enjoyment playing it offline, even if it's for grinding for cards. I don't enjoy it offline at all. I do it out of necessity, right? So, and I just love playing the game. The problem is that the game is slowly going towards, people have always said it's pay to win. And while I don't disagree that spending money in the game is going to give you a far better team and you're going to obviously get an advantage in that route, right? There has never been a time in which spending money will give you this big of an advantage. Like in my times covering this game, there has not been a single time where spending, even if you had all 6 team of the year cards in prior years, you still would not have the same advantage as the 4 pay to win team of the year cards that we got this year. Because those team of the year cards that we got, while they might have free abilities or synergies, things like that, they were the same overall and around the same range as master set player items. They busted progression with the new cards that they released for money, and it has impacted the game in terms of gameplay more than I've ever seen it happen, right? And this is just me like talking out this like thought process here. So I'll probably go into next year not spending money just out of spite. But I came up with this line. So the ability to play your way out of not spending money is slowly fading away. So what I mean by that is you used to be able to put in an excessive amount of time and get master set player items that are close to the high end of cards that you would pay money to get, right? Like the cards that are, it used to be the buildable ones, like so multiple team builders, the X factors from NHL 25, for example, right? Those would be the pay to win cards. But the master set players that you could grind and make multiples of would get you close enough where, well, every so often you might lose a game because someone's got a far better team. It wouldn't be nearly as much as it is now. Like, I play someone around my skill level with those 4 team of the year cards, and it's like I'm playing down 2, and I'm not good enough anymore to overcome that stuff. And I have no problem losing to players that are far better than me because, again, I get some weird enjoyment out of that because then I can see what they're doing and try and mimic that and get better. And like that's just kind of the cycle that I go through when I play online. It's extremely frustrating when it's out of my hands because I can't acquire all of those cards, right? I just think it's the first time that this game where immense hours committed and you don't have the freedom to make changes and access high-end cards regardless of how much you play. I think that's where we're at. And it's only going to get worse, like as the years go along, right? And it's very frustrating. And again, this is for a specific demographic. Again, only online player, right, that plays the meta. So then the argument would be, okay, don't play the meta, build a theme team. I do enjoy that. Like I've been doing that. I'm probably going to do that every year. However, there's a time where there is obviously a limit on it, and I enjoy playing at the top end as high as I can go. I'm obviously not going to be able to get to as high as I could with a better team, especially this year, and so I don't get as much enjoyment out of that, right? So it's just a very frustrating experience, right? And the bigger issue is that we don't know when they're going to randomly release packs. So what's happened is, like, let's think this through. If we were to do NHL 26 over again, right? And you don't want to work the market. God, love all the other people out there that you can work the market. I cannot sit on menus with my free time or even not my free time on stream and do that because I just don't have the personality to be able to sit there and do that. It's like nails on a chalkboard. It'd be like offline players playing online. Your experience is so awful if you like playing offline and then you go play online. It's the exact same situation. So for anyone that can do that, all the power to you, especially in the NHL 26 menus. Like that is a skill in which I cannot develop in terms of patience. So if I were to do it over again, I can't work the market and I can't spend money. All right. How would you go about this year differently than prior years? I would sell everything. And the second I would have 1 million coins just sitting there. And then I would wait for them to randomly release a pack that we are not anticipating, which then drops the cards entirely. So let me give you an example. Let's assume next year they're going to do the same thing with Team of the Year. I think that they won't because this was a massive, colossal mistake, even though they printed money. But I don't know if they will go to that extreme again. If you had 1 million coins, you got both Chara and Sakic for under 500,000 because when the packs were out, everyone bought them and they crashed. Captain cards. Everyone's been trying to make 92 overall captains, especially with Heischer and even just like Sanderson and other captain cards because you need the 25 AP at the start of Season 3. They released those captain packs 2 days ago, And now you can buy like a 92 overall captain for 200K, right? So if you just had a massive stable of coins, you can acquire all of this top end cards, but you just can't. You have to wait. And the problem is you don't know when. And that's what's frustrating. Like before, we used to know when events were coming. They would really go the extra mile to protect the player base from creating these super teams in that sense. And this is just like, hey, these sets aren't being made. Let's make them half price. And that's happened a number of times. At Christmas time, they did it with icons. Remember when all the icons slashed in price because they released those icon packs, right? I would just save my coins for that. That's it. I would avoid everything else. I wouldn't chase line combos. I wouldn't try and build a current team now. I would wait for when they make these drastic price cuts based on them releasing packs. And that's a boring way to go about it, but that's honestly the best way too if you're going to try and play online and have a competitive team. I think the salary cap had some pros and a lot of cons. I've always been against it, but now free-to-play players are getting slammed at both ends because of it, right? Like I said, I have to have Lojagrid on my team, even though I don't want him on my main team, because I need the salary boost to fit the other mediocre cards that I don't even like in my lineup, or I can't even use them, right? And so now you have less freedom and you have less good cards because of this system, and you're not spending money. So, I'm just yapping, and it's just I'm frustrated by it, right? Like I'm frustrated by it, and it's literally made me consider like, okay, next year do I just spend money, right? Do I just spend money because I'll enjoy the game more, right? Like that's the outcome. I want to enjoy the game more, and the way that I play the game. Guys, I streamed 73 hours straight. I finished the XP Path, Season 3 XP Path in 73 hours. You literally could not grind more than what I did, okay? So I still hate my team. Like I would remove point. That's it. Like it is become such a brutal issue that I'm just like, and I can't imagine for the casual player. So I don't know. It's just gotten very frustrating. And like I said, I think that when you're frustrated with the game, that's one thing. You can just take, like, all right, I'm done playing online right now. But when you hate your team while you're playing, like you go into a game even when you feel like playing, like, ugh, right? And the problem is that it's like, okay, we'll stop using those cards and conforming to the meta. But it's like the way that I enjoy the game is doing that. Like, that's what I enjoy. I enjoy putting together a top-end team, going up against other players that are good, and then playing them, win or lose, right? Like, that's how I enjoy it. And I think there's a lot of players out there that don't play the game like me, so my arguments are going to just be, like, not for them. I'm just specifically topping for that, because I know there's a number of players like me, especially on Twitch, I would assume, that you're building a team, a high-end team to play competitively, right? So, I don't know. I need something to come out. I hate my team. I don't know what to do. And I'm just, like I said, I'm slowly starting to think that this game just isn't for me the way that it's going. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm just like, I don't know if I can keep doing the same thing I'm doing and then enjoy the game, right? So, I don't know. Anyways, let's get into the comments and questions from yesterday. We got a bunch. We'll start with a longer one. Okay, this is from John. He says, "Sup, sleeves. As a purely offline, no money spent player who plays semi-casually but an hour a day, I can say I'm generally enjoying the game this year. Most of the advice you've given out to us offline players has been great for me. I now play pretty much exclusively Superstar Cup Chase, and excluding game freeze and glitches, I win probably 90 to 95% of my games. One bit of advice you gave out, though, I personally disagree with, and maybe it's just me and how I play. You said that if you can win regularly on Superstar, you should jump up to rivals. I did. I'm 1 win away from silver, and I think I went like 8-5, but I hated every minute of it. Win or lose, I was always so frustrated and annoyed by the end of almost every game. On top of that, I definitely don't have the same mindset that you, and you can walk away when I don't have the same mindset as you. And the way you talk, I'm assuming a lot of other online players have, that when I lose a game, I have to go again because I can't leave on an L. Nope, I'm pretty much done every time I lose. Like, I logged off the game completely till tomorrow. Even when I did win, it wasn't a huge adrenaline rush that, F yeah, I beat you. It was more like, it's over finally. I'll likely try and get that final W to get into silver, so at minimum next season, I basically get free packs. But other than a wild card, I'm done with online play. I play video games to have fun and relax, not stress out and get annoyed. I get enough of that in my normal life. Preach. Final thing in regards to having another game besides NHL. Definitely one of your best advice. I finished high on Life and Oblivion Remaster as my side games. In fact, I'm probably going to skip NHL next year, not because of any rage or hatred for EA or the game, but GTA 6, possibly Fallout 3 Remaster, and I have 3 RPG games I backed on Kickstarter that'll be out over the next year or so. I don't think I'll have time for an NHL game around those. Final thing. Despite my criticism before, you do make great content. If you ever browse through the NHL 26 Facebook or Reddit page and see clearly new HUT players, I'm always not only giving them the advice that you preach, but sending them your way to watch videos. Sorry for such a long comment. Keep warm and keep your family safe, John. I appreciate the long comment, man. The word wall was tough, but the I wanted to highlight this because the stuff inside was relevant. So this is almost exactly what I was just talking about, right? You're an offline player, and the way that you play, you can't understand how I play, and I can't understand how you play because we enjoy different things, right? My advice about if you can win on Superstar, jump up to Rivals. I want to adjust that because I don't know if I said you need to go and play Rivals. After reading this, my take would be try Rivals. Like, I think that too many people play an offline game and they're scared of trying online. Not scared, but they're intimidated by playing online because you assume that A, you haven't done it before, but B, that everyone is the best player in the world, which is simply not the case. Skill-based matchmaking means that that's not the case, right? So if you can win Superstar regularly, when you play HUT, you're not even playing Superstar. You're playing All-Star. So you're technically playing AI that are better than what the human-controlled players have. And at the very low end, human-controlled players are usually worse than the AI, right? It's not until you get up a little bit higher. However, you've done that and you haven't enjoyed it. And even when you win, you don't enjoy it. That's when you know it's not for me, right? You tried it. I think there's no regrets here, right? Like it's simply try and see how it goes because you might end up liking online play and you might get that rush, but you've been too intimidated to try it before. I do it with Madden. For years, I used to play Madden franchise mode, ignore MUT because I just assumed I'd get smoked. And then for like 3 years, I would make, in the first month of the game before NHL would come out, I would make Superstar. I'd hit MVP because I actually liked the theory of it. I would buy the Madden school and just learn like the same 6 formations. And then like you can dominate with that. But like I enjoyed it, but I was so intimidated for years to even try MUT because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna win. So I'm happy that you did. But this is like a lesson that not everyone is going to enjoy it, no matter your skill level of offline play. And what he says about your second game or finding another game, that is like my thesis for this year. To like try and get everyone that is addicted to this game to try something else because I think it's good for the NHL video game. I'll give you an example. I use this quite a bit. In the summertime, when NHL is really winding down, my content doesn't change. Like I still do the content reviews and Coffee and Chel and whatnot, but my actual time playing the game, I'm usually streaming MLB or Tarkov. Like I just don't play the game as much. I will legitimately, the only time of the year that I will come downstairs when I'm not streaming and play ranked or rivals or champs because I actually like miss playing the game. When you take a break and you bust the addiction of not just NHL, any video game you're playing, and then you come back, it's like a absence makes the heart grow fonder type thing. I just think that we need to normalize playing video games like we did when we were kids. I can't talk to anyone that's a kid now because I don't know what it's like, but video games used to be a hobby, and I've said this a ton. A specific video game is now your hobby. That's how the video game industry has evolved. They've made it where it's so much fear of missing out. You have to be playing this game nonstop, and if you're not a pro, you're a loser. If you don't have all the stuff unlocked, like you're a casual, and you get addicted because the games are engineered to keep your attention, right? When we were kids, we would play an RPG for 50 hours, explore the game top to bottom. The game would end. And then it's like, now what? You go find a new game, right? And that was like the part of like the golden age of video games. I know this is like an unk take, and like everyone says it was better when they were kids. There is no argument. There is a reason why every good video game from our generation gets remade and they can't make new ones. Like that era of video games when these companies were figuring out how to make video games. They were movies that you just controlled. There was no online microtransactions, and business was done differently where they had to make a game to get your dollar in the door, which is a far harder thing when you could just release a free game like Fortnite and then get all your money in what of the stuff that's in the game, right? So everyone should have a second game. And if you're like so against it, go find a game that you used to love. Mine was Mass Effect. Mine was Knights of the Old Republic. Now those are dated. So if you're like 25, go back and play Red Dead Redemption 2. And just play it for a couple hours, and you'll realize that like the relaxation of playing a game at your own pace, where it's not like the constant just like harassment of making you stay in the game. It's just nice and relaxing. But I appreciate your comment, man. This is like a very very, very on point comment. So hey Sleeves, 2 comments and a short question. Ryan says, the only thing I want in NHL 27 is Doc Emmerich's play-by-play instead of whoever these announcers are. How great would it be to hear McKinnon say, says down the boards when you're getting the puck in deep? I think that this is more important than graphics. We had this like big conversation yesterday I talked about graphics because it's big in the MLB community right now. And there's another MLB question I want to get to. That to me, I don't care as much about graphics as I do the presentation. Like I want something that makes me feel like I'm watching an NHL broadcast as opposed to some Fortnite style flashing lights and immediately into the game, right? They got rid of the introductions because people were complaining that it took too long and there was too many cutscenes. And while I understand that, like watching replays is literally like sacrilege, I understand that. But I kind of miss loading into a game, seeing my opponent's goaltender and their record and being like, damn, this is going to be tough. Or I've got a cupcake matchup. Like, I loved that. On top of that, that means that they could also add in, like, let's say you're a hut champ. You raise the banner for 4 seconds at the beginning of a game when you get home ice. Like, I miss that stuff. And also bring back a real play-by-play announcer. No disrespect to Sabalski. It's a hard thing to do. I couldn't do it. But bringing a new announcer that's a real one would be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? Anyways, I wanted to thank you. As someone who is older and has never been an online game guy, I played Hut totally off. Oh my God, I can't believe how on point this is going to be. Offline for the last 1.5 years. I do all my chores and grind, but it would just to build the sickest team for some reason, playing online always filled me with some odd anxiety. Oh, I love how this was like back to back. To be honest, I read your first part of the question. I didn't read this part. But watching your theme team finally got me through to me that I was missing out on a ton of fun. And if a bunch of scrubs can win a few, why couldn't I? So I pulled the trigger near the end of Season 2. I was able to make Plat 1, and now, as of tonight, I've reached Diamond 1. Why didn't anyone tell me how good these rewards were? I feel like I've been blind, but now I can see the game is so much more fun. I still get the anxiety a bit, so I don't play ranked a ton. I limit myself to 1 to 2 games a session. I work full-time and have a family. I'm lucky if I can hop on for 1 to 2 hours every night. And the rest of my time is spent burning cards to get another 92 captain. But for real, thanks, boss. Look forward to matching up with you somewhere down the road. It's so funny. Why I love doing these kinds of videos is you can see the differences of opinion. The comment right before was literally the exact opposite of this, right? Which is why I try not to generalize or get honed in on one take, because there's always people out there that experience the exact opposite. So, question 3. I know you mentioned how you would get better if you really wanted to be good at the game, etc. And part of that would be playing against some of the best players. Have you ever thought about offering fans some sort of Patreon tier where $5 to $10 a month, fans of yours could get 1 to 2 games against you a month, where you could play them and essentially help coach teach them? Giving guys a chance to get better by playing someone better, or even just a fun way to engage with folks. I know I would sign up for sure. Give me a chance to get dusted by it. Just a thought. Thanks for the hours of fun. P.S. Hawks-Sharks game was so much fun. I went to it. Celebrating is something different in person. Bedsy takes round 1. So I've tried this. I'll give you the reason why I don't. Simply time. That's it. This is if you were to design hey, what should you do? This is literally it for me in terms of from a business decision. It is simply time. I stream 6 to 8 hours a day. I upload YouTube videos daily. I have a son, and I make time for my wife. 1 day a week, I carve out a couple hours to go see my buddies. And then by the grace of God, I sacrifice an hour or two of sleep to play a cozy game at the end of the day. It's simply just laziness and complacency on my part. If I wanted to go all out, this would literally be what I used to do something when I was on the come up, I guess, as you could say, where every day I would review someone's gameplay. I would get you to send me a period, and I would do a full breakdown and I'd upload it on YouTube. I think I just called it gameplay review. I think it was NHL 21. I've dabbled with the thought of bringing that back. But again, it would just be adding more time to my day that I don't know. I like doing content where I can help as many people. And I guess technically I would be helping one person specifically, and people watching it would also get help because a lot of people play the similar. I would rather do it where I would watch you play someone random that you struggled against as opposed to playing me, because I'd be focused on me playing and not like, I might like go easier or like, okay, you're struggling with this, so I'm going to harp on that. Like I would, I'd be like biased, I guess, in my play, but I can almost guarantee at some point I will be doing this. But thank you for the comment, man. I really appreciate it, dude. God, this YouTube is killing me. Every 5 to 10 minutes, some add to my break. My God, with these Coffee and Chel videos, I might have to buy premium only for these. Guys, so if you're getting a ton of ads randomly on some of my Coffee and Chel videos, sometimes YouTube will supersede when I make ad placements. So I go in and I choose like, in a 45-minute video, I'll put 3 ad breaks, and you don't get every single one. This is how the YouTube algorithm works. It'll be like, okay, would an ad right now work for this user based on the algorithm for YouTube is unbelievable. It's why it's the #1 platform based on this person's viewership history and all that. But if you're getting like blasted like every 5 minutes, sometimes YouTube will go in and they will, not just on my videos, it'll literally be for everyone, and they will put an ad every like 4 minutes. And it's awful, but it's just like it doesn't happen until after you've uploaded it and after like the next day. So I do apologize. I will say this, that I don't get any money for this, but if you watch YouTube an hour a day, there is not a subscription that would give you more benefit, bang for your buck, than I think it's $150 if you pay yearly for YouTube, that subscription. $150 a year sounds expensive. But again, just do it based on your time. If you spend an hour a day, that's 365 hours at $150. You see I'm working it out. And you're obviously, if I would hazard a guess, if you're watching this video, that's 45 minutes right there, right? I would really recommend YouTube Premium. I did it myself like 2 years ago, and it's been totally worth it. You get YouTube Music as well. I know not a lot of people use it, but it is one of the best subscription services, honestly. So I would recommend it, not just for me. I didn't buy the captain packs, but I'm glad they put them out because, like you said, they lowered the prices for captains, and I was able to buy a couple 88s that I needed, and I made my Jake Sanderson card last night. He's a beast, and the AP boost is a must-do. So this is one of the things I was talking about, how, like in my rant earlier, if I was to do this year over again from like a money standpoint or a coin standpoint, you can tell when EA is going to, like I said, that the packs that they drop are random, but looking at it like hard over the last couple weeks, anytime that they get further and further away from the starter sets. So the icons were the first sets. It was 583 overall alumni, very expensive early on. But then as you get further, they give out better rewards. So you're getting 83 alumni all the time. So 86s are now easy to make. So you can make an 87. It's a challenge and expensive, but sure. Then they go to 89, and then they go to 90. And when they go that far, they can see that no one's doing these sets. Remember how I told you, the only way that they actually make change is not how much money you spend, it's how much you engage. It's both, but it's really on if you engage. So if no one is doing the sets, they will react, and they will react fast. So the 92 captains, just by if you went through the process of making one from base, like you didn't have an hour and a half experience. So a lot of the player base just won't do it. So what do? They cut them in half and give you a way to skip a lot of the sets because you're just going to be able to buy the cards for far cheaper, right? Same thing with icons. So you can tell when it's coming. Like I would bet over the next 2 months, every time we get an icon release, heroes, captains, all of it, we're going to get packs that allow you to get a ton of them because just for the sake of no one's doing the sets because they take too long to do. Like, I think that's it. Like, I honestly, the first 2 months, there really wasn't a ton of pay to win. In fact, the most pay to win was Lana DuPont when it came out. And what's funny, the same thought process. If you just saved coins, you could have gotten Lana DuPont for like what was like 150K when the pack was 300, right? So I'm with you on that. Like it is good that they did for the player base. It is good that they put those packs out. Boer says, graphics wise, the only thing I really care about is player likeness. More so like Mika, bro. He has long hair and he doesn't in the game, and the Tendy pad colors to match the unis you have. But an NHL league like how NFL does would be pretty sweet. It's different, and I'm sure a lot of people would play that even if they don't, something different would be cool. It's talking about GM Connected. Yeah, like player liked it, far more important. Like getting the correct goalie pad set up and like jersey setup and likeness is important, I think, more than the graphics. But I guess that goes kind of hand in hand. I do think that goes hand in hand. Pat says season 3, I think, is the best season so far, but the most frustrating was salary. Season 2 was pretty rough. No, you're right. The only thing that is saving me is the fantasy line with the salary. Yes, true. I guess that's true. I have a biased look at it because I have a fantasy combo, but I have to use them. And I hate burning my cousins in that line. It is what it is. There has never been a time where team building has been so integral and so much fun. Like, I actually think the line combo system is actually fun. It's far better than any EA NHL game that we've had in HUT. Like, from that aspect, from a team building aspect. The way that it's delivered is so unenjoyable that it's now making it worse, if that makes sense. Part of me wants to buy another fantasy card. I know I will do. They will come out with a line combo. The salary cap sucks. It was great, but it kills free-to-play players. Like I said, if the salary cap at least stopped giving you the ability to run all 4 of those 96 overall team of the year cards, I'd have no problem. I think a lot of people would have not. They would complain about it, but it wouldn't be as detrimental to what it is. The fact that they allow it, this is what I want EA to answer. I would love to go to them and for them to answer, give me a pro of the salary cap. And the only thing they're going to say is that, well, it makes you think more about who you're putting in your lineup and you can't stack your team. No. Not true. Not true at all. You can stack your team. In fact, you're rewarded for spending a ton of money to stack your team so that you get the biggest salary cap boost you can. All they had to do is remove those team of the year line combos, and you wouldn't be able to run those 4 guys. What Sakic and Char are like 17 million. It's like real life Toronto Maple Leafs. You know what I mean? Like your 3rd and 4th line would be just cheeks, and it would make the game like you would actually have to think. Like people wouldn't run Roenick. I can guarantee you, people literally wouldn't run Roenick because like, while he's good and better than a lot of cards, he's like mid compared to those other 3, right? It's nuts. It's absolutely insane. And I just want EA to answer that. Just, what are the pros of the salary? Sell me. If you give me a good enough answer, I'll buy in. I'm not even coming into this conversation with there's nothing you can say that can convince me. I want to be convinced. You tell me. And there's no response that they could give. At least one that I can see. There isn't. There's no excuse. And what's funny is that in the background, but the people that judge who puts out the content, they've got to be getting the highest bonus they've ever gotten. They got to be printing money hand over. Like this NHL, if I had to guess, has made more money already than Hockey Ultimate Team did in 25 and 24 already. And maybe even 23. Because they've done such a good job at making it where you spend money, you're going to have a great time. And it just goes to show that we're willing to still pay that because it hasn't ever been the case, right? Remember NHL 24 launch or 25? I think it was 24's launch where it was 25. It mixes up for me. There was no point in buying packs in the store because all the packs were bad. All of them were just bad. But now it's like the Sakic and Chara, I talk about it so much, it's exhausting. So I'm sorry, it's probably annoying. There hasn't been a pack like Sakic and Chara since NHL 19 when it was like, here's a $100 pack. You might get the Solani or Bure or whatever. And that was the best pack you could have opened ever. Right? So I'm with you on this, man. It is so frustrating. I want EA to just give me the answer. Just convince me the salary cap. Just convince me of salary cap. I'm willing to be like to go to battle for them and be like, hey guys, we're not seeing it right. This is why the salary cap is a good thing. But they can't. From yesterday's comments about NHL records never to be broken, the one record we can all guarantee, without a doubt, that will never be broken is the late great Mr. Goalie Glenn Hall's consecutive games played of 502 regular season games over 5 seasons with 2 teams. I get that they played stand-up, but he played with no helmet, right? The fact that you could even go 502 games in a row and not catch one in the beak, which would then literally put you out of commission. Like, there'd be no way. Well, I guess there would be a way if it wasn't hard enough or whatever. It could almost kill you. He won the Calder and 2 Stanley Cups in that time frame to go with it, and done all without a face mask. That record is never gonna get like I didn't even realize that, but that A will never be broken. But that might be one of the most impressive records in the NHL. 502 games played as a rookie with no helmet. Like, I get the era and the time they played, but like, I don't know how you don't just catch one in the mouth. Like, you would think that like eventually, right? Like you would get one. Because always a very positive commenter. So why would you be given access to the API? Oh, okay. He's talking about what I talked about if GM Connected came back. Why can I not have access? Why can't everyone? As I said, I track the stats manually as I play it for every game, unless I quit out against some lag international ice. I can sort my stats by line, OVR, event, season, week, game, pay to win, ping. I have it all in a spreadsheet. That sounds exhausting. Secondly, I didn't say that no one else could have access to the API. So if you don't know, when games release APIs to websites and things like that, it's because they are public. Very rarely, at least I don't know of one, like Futbin, Mudhead, Showzone, those are all, they aren't given special treatment. They just have access to the API and did it best. Like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. League Gaming has the API for World of Chel, right? You can go and get that from EA. You just have to get whitelisted. Like, so Eurogamer, or it used to be called Eurogamer, is the European League Gaming, right? It has access to the API. Every banana league that has a website has an API for World of Chel. So why would I be given access to an API? Why couldn't you? You would be able to. I'm saying that when they release GM Connected, or if they do, it has to come at some point. If they do, right? The way that it works is there will be stats in the background. Like, for it to run, that stuff will exist, and it shouldn't be difficult because it would be a new mode, right? So the issue that we ran into with Hockey Ultimate Team is that the API for HUT was a mess to try and do, and then also the legality of when you do an API for Ultimate Team, there's this weird copyright issue, because if you take the card art, you're technically taking the copyright of EA because they have the card art, right? Or the right of the NHL, because the EA NHL has the rights to the headshots and all of that. EA, like, you don't. So if you're taking the card art as a part of the API, then you can't really do that. So I talked about this. I couldn't get the API for the market, so that's why I stopped doing my HUT database website, because NHL HUT Builder does such a good job, and they've been doing it for years, but they don't have access to the market. If we could get the market API, we could do insane things, right? But for GM Connected to come out, anyone would have access to the API. You just have to access it on their website. You'd shoot them an email, or myself, and I would get you in. You would just get whitelisted. So, yeah, it's not just for me. So, that's going to do it for today's Coffee and Chel, guys. It is Thursday. I will release, so I'm doing like a new schedule where I stream at night, and I said I wanted to do it Monday through Wednesday, so I didn't burn myself out. So tonight I actually have cornhole, so I can't like do a night stream, but I am going to release a theme team episode every Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, non-content days. So anyways, that's going to do it for me today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.